on the Honourable Mark Pearson.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move amendment appearing on Animal Justice Party amendment to the Residential Tenancies Amendment Review Bill 2018, appearing on sheet C2018-119A. This amendment, to put it into context, it is a double negative. It's in relation to companion animals on page 3, Schedule 1, insert after line 24. The Division 2 Terms of Residential Tenancy Agreements, 19 Prohibition Terms 1, a residential tenancy agreement must not contain a term of a kind set out in this section or prescribed by the regulations for the purposes of this section. The amendment being F, that a companion animal of a person who is lawfully residing on residential premises is not permitted to be kept on the premises. The 2016 census figures show that more than 30% of households in Australia rely on rental accommodation for their housing needs. Combine that figure with the fact that 62% of households have companion animals, and we have a significant social problem with the lack of legal protections for tenants with companion animals. This problem is escalating as housing affordability causes many people to remain tenants, often for life. In Europe, where renting is the norm, there is legal recognition that tenants should not be unfairly restricted from the experiences such as living with pets. A landlord may own a property to derive income and capital gains, and it is obviously not unreasonable for them to want to protect that asset. As a society, we recognise the benefit that private landlords bring to the housing sector for people who cannot afford to buy their own homes or who are not eligible for social housing. However, we must also acknowledge that the landlord's asset is also the tenant's home. I believe that it is entirely reasonable for tenants to be able to enjoy the same benefits of living with companion animals as do homeowners. It also helps to address a terrible tragedy, the increasing number of tenants who are forced to surrender their animals to pounds and shelters. RSPCA statistics show that 15% of the dogs and cats that are surrendered are because people were moving houses and could not find accommodation that allowed companion animals. As a society, we intervene in the operations of many commercial enterprises on the understanding that it is for the public good. We legislate to make sure that retailers must sell food that is not adulterated, that a motel owner cannot refuse to book a room for a gay couple, and that property developers must comply with building standards to ensure public safety. We do this because we believe that public health, welfare and fairness is important, and that the market, quote unquote, is unlikely to provide those protections if left to its own devices. Landlords are currently free to refuse tenants, and the consequences are such that most landlords choose the easy option of not allowing any pets without any consideration of the social, physical and psychological benefits that companion animals have in the lives of humans. We live in a society where single and older person households are on the rise. These two groups are at the risk of social isolation. For older persons, the isolation may be due to physical disabilities or illness. Both groups may struggle with a lack of social interactions, leading to anxiety and depression. Psychiatrists at the University of Rochester Medical Centre undertook research which found that those living with pets were 36% less likely than those living with pets were 36% less likely than non-pet owners to report loneliness. We know that human beings are social animals and that loneliness is a killer. Older adults who report feelings of loneliness are at the increased risk for many serious physical and mental health conditions, including death.
Do we have a spare one of the...
There have been many research studies undertaken that show a raft of health benefits from living with companion animals. Human-animal relationship lowers blood pressure and heart rate, and people recovering from heart attacks recover more quickly and survive longer than when there is a pet in the home. For people living alone, a companion animal may be the only affectionate touch they experience through their day. Petting an animal is known to release oxytocin, a hormone that reduces stress, as well as boosting levels of serotonin and dopamine, which promote alertness and a sense of well-being. According to Beyond Blue, it's estimated that 45% of people will experience a mental health condition in their lifetime, and that in any 1 year, approximately 1 million Australian adults will experience depression and over 2 million will have anxiety. According to depression research, being responsible for the care of an animal promotes mental health. Self-esteem is improved when people realise they are capable of caring for another sentient being. For people debilitated by depression, living with a companion animal brings a structure to the day and may be the only reason that they are able to get out of bed. Feeding, caring and exercising a beloved animal all provides positive feedback and helps with healing from depression. I note that the Victorian Government has recently amended its residential tenancy legislation to allow pets in rental accommodation, and that the Queensland Government has a similar provision before their Parliament. If our sister states are able to recognise the case in favour of companion animals, then surely we can join them in that compassionate approach. Allowing tenants to have companion animals will not only significantly improve the well-being of people, it will quite simply save lives, both human and animal. I commend the amendment.